Mario Kart World is full of joy, wonder and whimsy, and is a beautiful celebration of go-karting, exploring, healthy competition, and most importantly, life. But also, Mario Kart World is hell. You thought influencer collabs, the surveillance, culture, and personified brand accounts are bad in this timeline? In Mario Kart World, it is so much worse. Yoshi runs a fast food empire that ignores any Mushroom Kingdom DEI legislation, King Boo is exploiting the undead, Wigglers have become a symbol of resistance, and Toad controls the food supply. I'm Zoe, and you should grab some red string, a bulletin board, and listen a while. For this to work, let me initiate you into this reality. First, forget the Bowser villain, Mario hero, Goomba enemy narrative that you've been fed. Logically, Super Mario Odyssey must be fake for our enjoyment, an interactive experience in which everyone has a role to play. Mario Kart World is the real Mushroom Kingdom, otherwise why would you invite Bowser to your racing festival? No, he's an actor like everyone else, one who excels at playing the villain, the Giancarlo Esposito of Mushroom Kingdom, if you will. Super Mario Odyssey, Princess Peach Showtime, Luigi's Mansion, these games are all ways for characters to leapfrog into the public eye and capitalise on their exposure by starting their own company. Influencer collabs gone wild, basically. And what a way to leap into the public eye. MKTV is broadcasting everything in the Mushroom Kingdom. Camera helicopters follow you around, even in free roam, meaning every racer is an influencer, every product is a collab, and MKTV broadcasts it all to the extent that their presence and camera operators have been worked into the infrastructure of public amenities like this parking garage. MKTV is Big Brother. Every single business in Mario Kart World is associated with a character in the Mushroom Kingdom. Oh my god guys, run, don't walk to Waluigi Vintage Clothing, Banana Natural Oil, Larry Lights, Sumo Bro Tents, Boo Cinema, Spike Spokes, Conk Door Headlights, Squid Motor Oil, Hot Foot Gasoline, Bowser Construction, Rosalina Automobile, Rosalina Starbus Fire Tours, Flower Diner, Peach and Daisy Royal Supersonic Princess Royal Motors, Chargin' Chuck Monster Red Trucks, Shell Speed Tires, Shell Engines, Construction, and more. Among all those names, you may have noticed a lack of push bike manufacturers. Push bikes do exist in Mushroom Kingdom, I've found some in the alleys of Crown City, but I never see anyone riding them. Push bikes are environmentally friendly, with no need for fuel beyond a pair of willing thighs. Considering how much of Mushroom Kingdom's central governing structure is personally invested in engines and the motor industry, it's no surprise that push bikes are a rarity in Mushroom Kingdom. Maybe they've been outlawed for the duration of Mario Kart Festival to protect cyclists from colliding with careening carts on the road, but that still feels icky. Pedestrians are allowed on roads, but push bikes, for some reason, are a step too far, perhaps because they compete with the oil-guzzling carts, allegedly. If you're an ordinary Shy Guy, Yoshi, Pianta, or Toad, you stand little to no chance of starting a successful business that outcompetes the major franchises. By the looks of it, this is beginning to affect the economy. Within Crown City, signs indicate that the real estate industry is suffering from a lack of independent businesses. Signs advertising for new tenants indicate supply is outpacing demand, and retail property owners have to resort to advertising to tempt new business owners. When it comes to starting your own business, let me show you how all of this works. Right at the top, you have the oligarchs, Bowser and his Koopa Empire, and the royals, Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, and Rosalina. Bowser, otherwise known as King Koopa, owns Koopa Construction, Bowser Motors, and Koopa Hotels. He has worked his way from the ground up, starting as an ordinary Koopa and investing wisely, building an economic empire. He owns a property development/engineering mega corporation under the umbrella of the Koopa brand, an unholy spawn of CFM Electrical and the China Communications Construction Company. Cooper Construction's advertisements say it all and are ominous in their inevitability. We build your homes, we build your town, we build your dreams. Then there's the royals, as well as having inherited wealth, taxes direct from their subjects, and owning the leasehold of every business's building on Mushroom Kingdom's land. Peach and Daisy both have shares in the Supersonic Princess Royal Motors Company, the Royal Patisserie, Peach Resort, and Daisy's cruise line. Rosalina owns a public library in Starview Peak, a motor company in the form of Rosalina Automobile, an entertainment company in Rosalina Star Tours, and, under her rule of the cosmos, jurisdiction over Rainbow Road. Below that in the corporate food chain is everyone else, and their existence is miserable. Allow me to start with Yoshi's and its discriminatory hiring practices. Yoshi's is a fast food chain you've come across in your journeys across Mario Kart World. They have drive-thrus or trucks in every racetrack, ready to serve you cakes or ice creams or kebabs during your road trip, always with a special collaboration should the region accommodate it. Fresh milk ice cream in Moo Moo Meadows, and popcorn at Boo Cinema, for example. But behind Yoshi's grinning face atop the restaurants, all is not as cheerful as it seems. Only Yoshi's can be found staffing these full drive-thrus with hygiene facilities, waste management, and space. Toads staff the food trucks, never Yoshi's. And it's not because Yoshi's can't drive either. They can be seen driving on the roads quite happily. For whatever reason, Yoshi's hiring practices favour Yoshi's for the more comfortable employment locations and put Toads in the mobile food trucks, which are cramped and have fewer, to no, hygiene facilities in comparison to the motor restaurants. And don't get me started on Shy Guys. If they're hired at all, they're back-of-house staff without exception, as during my travels for all the Shy Guys I saw hiking, sailing, relaxing and driving, I never saw any staffing Yoshi's restaurants. And that's despite the fact that part-time jobs are available at Yoshi's, a sign of their rapid expansion surely. No Toads man any of the drive-through restaurants. Staff are strictly policed on how they react to customers too. They only clap if you pick up food from outside their window. Should you ignore the takeaway bag, they don't cheer you on, raising the question, are they paid on commission? One meal bought by you means more money in their pocket? Feels unethical, but in a world where cow eats beef burgers, it's the least of my worries. Yoshi's is akin to Unilever or Nestle in our realm. He has restaurants, vending machines, and numerous food lines under his brand. Yoshi truly is the oligarch of the food industry in Mushroom Kingdom. Toadette has carved out a niche for herself in frozen desserts via her ice cream parlour, but again, this shouldn't be a surprise considering her connections to Toad of Toad Manufacturing, who manufactures the item boxes that are featured heavily in the Mario games and who is a close confidant of Princess Peach. Imagine the chaos Toad could cause if he whispered in Princess Peach's ear about the monopoly Yoshi has over food. Sanctions against Yoshi's import business would devastate Yoshi's business. Toad and Toadette both also have the ears of the farmers of Mushroom Kingdom, making them a formidable ally or enemy. Food is grown in between Moo Moo Meadows and Toad's factory, and is farmed by Toads as indicated by these Toad homes, so sacrificing a monopoly on chilled desserts is a small price to pay when measured against disrupting Yoshi's food chain. However, Yoshi may have a monopoly over mobile food catering, because if you look at these vans in Toadette's ice cream parlour, you can see they're not manned, nor do you find them anywhere else in Mario Kart World. Pun very much not intended, but food for thought. Is that ethical? No, of course not. Boo Cinema isn't either. Open 365 days a year, 7 days a week, and 24 hours a day, there's only one way that could work. If you guessed humane hiring conditions and generous pay for unsocial working hours, you'd be wrong. Boo Cinema must be run by the dead, ghosts who have no need for sleep. It must be. Who else could work, let alone survive, those kinds of hours? We never see the employees either, raising the question whether these ghosts exist in a kind of limbo, invisible to us but very visible to Boo Cinema and its boss. Using those who have shuffled off the mortal coil for ceaseless labour is dark, almost as dark as transport manufacturers doubling as weapon manufacturers, like Boeing. No, really, look it up. Red shell speed tyres and spiny shell engines have adapted their technology to both vehicle innovation and weapons. The homing technology used in red shells has been tailored to work for their own brand of tyres. Using the speed and target locking internal programming, these red shell tyres are able to get you to your destination accurately and quickly, like sat-nav in hyperdrive. Spiny shell engines have miraculously found a way to make the explosions their spiny shells create on the track work just as well in powerful combustion engines. Using the spiny shell patented combination of combustants and ignition, they've created engines that don't use banana oil or squid oil, but instead their own proprietary blend that creates powerful mini explosions in pistons to generate an astonishing amount of propulsion for vehicles that use their engines. I don't currently know which vehicle manufacturers have exclusive rights to which engines, but a Freedom of Information request is pending. Now, just because almost every Mario franchise character has their own business venture, doesn't mean they should. Spike Express's way of delivering parcels is doing the delivering bit, but not getting to the right location bit as he just throws them off the back of the truck. Nabbit Couriers is the superior courier service without a doubt. With years of experience in stealing or rehoming things, as my lawyers have asked me to phrase it, Nabbit knows how to get items from A to B without breaking them, no matter how much pressure its couriers are under. To make its mark, Nabbit tries to market itself as a rebel, like Brewdog Beer, who marketed itself as a, brace yourself, punk company. Nabbit's poor attempt at subversive marketing via these graffiti pieces seen in Crown City reinforces the capitalist, codified behaviour it participates in. In this model, any deviation from the mainstream approach is viewed by those inside the machine as innovative and rebellious, but to those outside of the industry it is out of touch and, dare I say, cringe. Nabbit is, unfortunately, a sellout, a poor imitation of Banksy, a collab with Yoshi's drive-thru a DM away, their days of shoplifting a mere anecdote to chuckle at with the self-styled daring shareholders of Nabbit Couriers. Finding the real rebels in Mario Kart World requires more digging. The grunts who were used to being mild inconveniences in the Mario games are actually the ones trying to dismantle the Mario Kart World status quo. They have less invested in the influencer-ridden world all those karts race through, thus have less to lose but so much to gain by successfully undermining it. Graffiti is the truth teller. Subversive in nature and relegated to Crown City's alleyways and beneath bridges, graffiti shows what the underclasses are really up to. Monty Moles do their best to disrupt races and sabotage roads, and have become symbols of resistance graffitied in places overlooked by those in power. Within Wario's track you can find a tag that reads Angry Wiggler. Wigglers are these folks, cheery but formidable caterpillars, who can have carts crashed into them and not budge a single inch. Yet, we never see an angry wiggler in Mario Kart World. Every single one is smiling blissfully. So, the very idea of an angry wiggler is a rebellion, a sign of resistance, and makes us ask, why aren't wigglers angry? I'd be angry if my stroll was persistently interrupted by irresponsible driving. Other obstacle grunts are angry. Thwomps, Monty Moles, Typhus and Piranha Plants all lash out in one way or another. But wigglers have a certain air of disassociation about them. To see Angry Wiggler tagged on an underpass indicates that the citizens of Mushroom Kingdom have begun to notice that wigglers have a right to be angry. To be an angry wiggler is to fight back against the system. Typhus are also graffitied in the shadows, yet their cuter cousins, the Foos, have their own company in the form of the handy Foo air dusters. Why don't Typhus have their own company? Their wind is far more powerful, after all. This poses a chilling question. If you're cute, do you get away with more in Mushroom Kingdom? If you don't play into the Mario Kart complex, you get vilified like Monty Moles or Typhoos, but being cute, like the Wigglers, affords you protection and privilege. Cute foos are able to shed their image as disruptors to create their own service, but it's still a service, and they leave their Typhoo cousins behind in the process. Being cute grants you some agency in Mario Kart World, but at the cost of your principles. There are a few havens in Mushroom Kingdom from the ads, corporations and tarmac. Mushroom Kingdom has its own equivalent of UNESCO World Heritage Sites, MKESCO, if you will. Cheep Cheep Falls, Shy Guy Bazaar and Acorn Heights are all under this banner. In those locations there's no branding apart from Yoshi drive-thrus, and in extra special sites like Cheep Cheep Falls, even those have specific laws to abide by. Shop fronts in Cheep Cheep Falls have to abide by cultural tradition by law, meaning that Yoshi's sells regional delicacies like taiyaki while also sacrificing their usual drive-thrus and trucks for market stalls. Similarly, in Shy Guy Bazaar, Shy Guys are the only ones who are permitted to man any kind of food stall which are markedly not Yoshi adjacent, and the region's unique architecture has been preserved, possibly a way for Shy Guys to reclaim their food culture in the light of how they're treated by Yoshi's hiring practices. You can find masks and spices being sold in the less touristy areas too, which hints that Shy Guy Bazaar has its own local economy, supported by inhabitants that prefer to remain out of the public eye during the Mario Kart festival. Speaking of the ordinary citizens of Mushroom Kingdom who are just trying to get by, the populace is made up of Piantas, Shy Guys, Yoshis and Toads, who can be found watching the races, driving around, fishing, relaxing and hiking along the roads. You don't see any humanoids similar in appearance to Peach, Rosalina or Daisy, but that's a conspiracy theory for another video. In contrast to the wacky racers, real citizens of Mushroom Kingdom drive very ordinary cars. Station wagons, hatchbacks, sedans, taxis, estate cars and more. Some have enough disposable income to go on a holiday, as we see them with surfboards strapped to the back of their cars. Those with cars are clinically responsible drivers. They indicate at junctions, drive carefully, and are provided with parking spaces and parking meters. Mario Kart Festival must be a multi-month-long event as they can't afford to shut roads down for the duration, and on the highways there are even warnings when courses are starting ahead, implying that you just have to accept that races are going to be going on while you're commuting. Life for normal denizens appears to be tolerable. Safety regulations are emblazoned on the sides of construction sites, so there is some kind of legislation that protects workers. Unlike cities in our world, here there is a refreshing lack of hostile architecture, meaning that Shy Guys can nap on city benches if they get sleepy. There's a garbage collection service, albeit one that is a bit lacking as garbage bags are strewn across some streets. Rosalina has established the Starview Peak Public Library that's free to enter, browse and enjoy so long as you can make it through the frigid route to get there. Having a free essential community service that's run by a galactic ruler instead of Mushroom Kingdom's monarch, Princess Peach, is a damning indictment of Peach's priorities, but again, another topic for another video. I hope you have had time to process that Mario Kart World is, indeed, a horrendous place to live. Especially if you're not a core influencer, character, whether that's a face or heel, or babyface. Sadly, what makes Mario Kart World a nightmare to live in is what makes our world a nightmare to live in too, but now it's the end of the video, so I choose not to think about that anymore. Is there anything in Mario Kart World you spotted that's made you do a double take, that's not the overwhelming or inspiring see you next Tuesday that Cow was serving? Let me know in the comments. You know the drill. Like this video if you tolerated it or want to see more deep dives from me, Zoe Delahunty-Light, like this, subscribe to Eurogamer for more video game videos, and now I am gonna go and try my best to recreate Rosalina's pro race outfit because the way she's tied her jumpsuit around her waist, slay. I'll see you folks next time.